Hello everybody. Today I'm going to share with you my tag for week 12 for the 52 Tags Handmade challenge on YouTube, and that is hosted by Brooke Textile Artist, and I'll put a link to her week 12 video in the description box below. These are the tags I've done so far, and I did find my eyelets and put an eyelet on last week's one, which is very, very simple. The more I look at it, I think, oh my goodness, I did keep that very simple. But you know, I'm happy with that. It's showcasing the rings, and that's okay. Sometimes we just don't want to do a lot on our tags, and that was one of those weeks. So I will show you this week's, but unfortunately there's no tutorial for it this week because I forgot to record it. I just started making it and never even thought about recording it. Anyway, this week is blanket stitch. That's all it was, blanket stitch, and just do what you want with blanket stitch. So this is what I've done. I've used a double layer of fabric. I've used some beautiful blue linen fabric on it. It's such a pretty color. It actually came off, I think it was a skirt or something. It's recycled fabric, and then underneath it I've put just a bit of this fabric as well, just to give it a little bit more strength when I'm working with it. And I've done mostly blanket stitch. There are a couple of French knots holding on these little dimensional flowers there, and all they are is fabric that I backed with a little bit of paper and did a blanket stitch around it and then sewed it on with the French knot. So I just cut some little circles out. See how I've glued? I just used a glue stick to hold the fabric on place. Then I cut a couple of circles out and I did a tiny little blanket stitch around them, just so they didn't fray away to nothing. Perhaps use interfacing rather than paper, but I just grabbed what I had on my desk. Just a little star flower thing there. These are just blanket stitches done in different sizes and in different ways. A couple of long straight stitches just for stems of flowers. That is actually a tiny weeny little blanket stitch in the center of that flower, and then across the top I've done a long blanket stitch. You can see a blanket stitch across the top there, and I did that all the way through, and that's what is holding my tag on this. It's loose, see? That is what is holding my tag on this week, and it kind of looks like rain, but it is a blanket stitch. I had a brass eyelet, but I used a permanent marker to go over it to give it a silvery effect for this one. So that's my tag for this week, and my writing is week 12 blanket stitch. This week it was Jim's, my husband, birthday. The kids came over for dinner and it was lovely. He turned 55 this week. So there we go. That is, oh, and see, you can see the double layer there as well, and I love the softness of the edges and things. So that is week 12 done. I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to do when I first watched Anne's video. I didn't want it looking too chunky or anything like that, so I just made sure I only used a couple of strands of thread. This particular flower here is done with 3 strands. The aqua color is done with 2 strands, and so is the rain. And this is done with, I think, 1 strand, and this is done with 2, but it's a very, very fine lame thread, that one. So I could get away with 2 strands for that, and that helped to keep it very delicate for the week. So I'm happy with how that turned out, and I'll put it in with the rest of them, and there we go. Perhaps we'll have a quick flip through. Just let me get that camera back a little bit more. We had a power outage this morning, so it's very dark because it's raining, and it's going to be raining for a while longer, I think. So there's week 1, and all white tag. Week 2, I didn't write what that was, but I think that was the heart tag. Week 3 is scrap strips. That's really nice to touch. Week 4, and I think that is fly stitch. That's a pretty one. That's using that same linen. And then week 5 is X kisses, yes. So the X, lots of X's around there. And then week 6 is, I think, a bevy of buttons. That's just one. Okay, week 7 is hexies, the hexagons. And then week 8 is French knots, pistol and bullion stitches. And week 9 is bits and pieces and a gift. And this was my gift, this lovely trim down the side there. And then week 10 is Suffolk puff and lace. And week 11 is rings and a bit of lace. And then this week is blanket stitch, week 12. So there we go, 12 weeks done. So I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about no tutorial this week. Just unfortunate, I just completely forgot to film it. So take care everybody, and I hope you enjoyed seeing what I made for the 52 tags handmade for this week. Bye.